Welcome to Our Social Impact, brought to you by the Prison Scholar Fund. The Prison Scholar Fund's mission is to provide education and employment assistance to help currently and formerly incarcerated people succeed and thrive in society while avoiding homelessness and the revolving door of reincarceration. The PSF also advocates for reform in correctional education to increase opportunity for all. As a nonprofit, we rely on investments, volunteers, and are always looking for board members to champion our mission. Please connect with us through our website at prisonscholars.org, where you can find volunteer opportunities, make a contribution, and learn about becoming a board member. You can also email us at info@prisonscholars.org and find us through most social media platforms at Prison Scholars. Become a patron by supporting us directly at Patreon with @Prison Scholars. We appreciate your review of this podcast through whatever platform you listen through. Without further ado, here's Dirk Van Velsen, founder and CEO of the Prison Scholar Fund.
Hello and welcome to Our Social Impact. Today we have Julian, Executive Director of Yoga Behind Bars. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming today. I'd love to hear more about you and how you ended up at Yoga Behind Bars.
All right. So I've been at Yoga Behind Bars for about 4 weeks as the executive director. I got to Yoga Behind. I've been involved with Yoga Behind Bars for about 5 years. I heard about it from a friend of mine who was on the board at the time, who was formerly incarcerated himself, and I went to one of their luncheons, one of their eat drink gives, and I immediately fell in love with the organization. It's an organization having a big impact on the people behind bars, giving them different ways of thinking, movement, meditation, and different ways of coping with the difficult circumstances of being incarcerated. I was drawn to it because I had my own experience when I was behind bars. A nice gentleman got me out in the yard to do some yoga, and it had a huge impact on my well-being and my ability to navigate through the system for the next 5 years. So it allowed me to hear more positive things as opposed to negative things. It allowed me it was the leader of a lot of change. It was like it was what I needed to have a clear mind to be able to move forward and just take advantage of whatever I could in that situation, and not just focus on all the what I did wrong and how it was impacting my family and how it was impacting people I care about.
So was that in Washington State? Were you incarcerated here?
That started in Chicago. I got arrested in Chicago.
Okay.
I moved out to Chicago, lived in a few different places. I lived in Washington, and I moved to go to school in Arizona, and I had a job there for about 13 years with the airline industry as a computer guy, database guy. And then I just moved to Chicago to start doing contract work, and I had like 3 one-year contracts. I moved to New York for 1 year, and I moved back to Chicago, and I just, in life I was just going through a lot, so I just I got caught up in this little party scene, and I just ended up messing with drugs, and ended up finding my way into being arrested by the DEA.
So when you say party scene, kind of like a club kid? I mean,
Yeah.
that was kind of that was my deal.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so we were doing like X in those days, and
Yeah.
I never really got into meth or anything.
Yeah.
What was your drug of choice?
It turned out to be meth. Meth is what got me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a little bit extra. I just didn't like being out of control. I thought I was in control with my drug of choice, but it was a foolish detour in my life.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're a club kid, had some drug exposure. Were you selling it or manufacturing it or just using it?
No, I was so I had a big circle of, when you're a kid, we have like a lot of people. I wasn't a kid. I was a club old guy.
But you guys, the people you go clubbing with.
Yeah, it was a club group. And I had a circle, so I found a good deal and got some quantity, and I just knew we weren't getting bad stuff, and just provided it for me and my friends.
So that's a good service because you can probably get a good deal. You know the quality is okay.
Yeah.
You can look out for your friends so they get good stuff.
Yeah.
But the law probably doesn't look at it that way.
No, in fact, it's one of the things I learned in my drug program was there is no good drugs.
So the drugs might have been clean of impurities,
Yeah.
but drugs are still terrible
Yeah.
in a different way.
Yeah.
So that gave you, what, 5 years?
I got sentenced to 88 months, which I had to computate when the judge sentenced me in my head. But before then, I was getting taken away. I was trying to do the math, but it was yeah, I got checked. I got sentenced to 88 months in prison. I ended up doing 5 years. Got time off all my good behavior, and I got off time for doing the drug treatment program.
Oh, very cool. You mentioned that you were doing yoga there. Was that yoga the Yoga Behind Bars program, or is that just?
No. This is a guy who came up and said, "Hey, I see you just what are you doing? You're just kind of like existing, and you want to go out and do yoga with me. Let's go. I have a book. I've done yoga in the past. Let's go out there." And the two of us started, and a few people added on. And but we weren't allowed, like in our yard, you weren't allowed to congregate. So they had too many things. They had to accuse us, like, you guys are doing martial arts. You guys are doing, they divide us all.
If you do the warrior pose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
it'll freak them out a little bit.
Yeah. So
yeah, in my prison, I remember if we had more than 3 people in a group, they would break it up.
Yeah.
Was that your number 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the federal.
3 of us were loyal, and then the rest of them kind of like did it a little further.
Yeah, they could do the three other people 20 feet away, and it's okay.
Yeah. So it turned out just allowed me to space my mind to kind of free all the negative thoughts, because I was fighting my case for 4 years, so I was in a very dark space when I finally got into prison. And during that 4-year process, I lost my brother, who was the Seattle Police Bingo president. I lost 2 years in that.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
So I came back out for that. It was just, my family. It was just me, my brother, my parents, and I also have a sister who's developmentally disabled. And I just saw what my mom went through with my brother, and my mom was going through with what I was facing. So it was very difficult to manage in my head. I was already susceptible to depression and stuff like that, and it's just made it worse.
Yeah, prison's tough enough on a good day. So especially if you got some things on your mind, makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah. So when I started doing yoga, I started like reading more. I started taking classes. I started participating more. I started I got a better job. My first job was just kind of just a get by job, and I was just sweeping.
One of the jobs inside the prison.
Yeah. So I got ended up getting a job in the metal factory and working in there.
Yeah, because I know the feds have. Is it called Precor?
It's called Unicor.
Oh, Unicor.
Yeah.
So is that the factory job you had?
Yeah.
Was that like $100 a month or $200?
Yeah, not too much. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's enough to buy some commissary.
Yeah, because otherwise a regular job is what, $10, $15 a month. It's kind of rough.
Yeah. So you get a lot more for working for the factory, but I surprised myself. I was always a computer guy and kind of like a non-labor, and I was an assembler, so I was using tools. I hadn't done that before, so I was,
So it's kind of
cool.
This
other little guy, we were like the fastest assemblers,
So at least you're having fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Relatively speaking,
Yeah.
So then what happened from there to getting released? Just kind of did your time and
so I was there for 3 years, and then I got my parents lived in Washington, so I hadn't seen them but once. They only were able to come down one time when I was in California in Terminal Island, and they I was like upset that I haven't just started thinking I haven't seen them for a while. I want to is there any way I can get closer to home? And so I just pondered that for a while, and I went and just asked my counselor. I said, what does it take for me to be able to move closer to home? And she got on the computer, and clicked her buttons, and she's like, I don't know why you're still here.
Oh,
I was gone the next week.
No way.
Yeah.
You come up to Sheridan?
Yeah, I went up to Sheridan to the camp, and I
smart move.
Yeah, I was able to. My family came down a lot more. I was able to see my nieces and my sister-in-law and important family members and stuff. So it was really good. And several friends came down to visit me as well.
So how's your transition? It sounds like you had good family support, so maybe the transition was okay.
Yeah. It was good, but my family was going through a little bit. Like my mom was starting to show more signs of Alzheimer's. She used to get a lot more forgetful. So it was I wish I was here sooner, but to spend more time with her. But she's still around, but she's there's active signs.
Yes.
early onset.
That's gotta be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened to my uncle too.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still working through that. But I was able to, but they came down quite a bit, my mom and my dad, so that was good. And my, one thing I avoided the whole time when I was in Terminal Island was I did not want to get in the kitchen no matter what. And then
I avoided the kitchen duty for the entire 15 years.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Lucky.
never got in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, I thought I was lucky, but
You can eat better though.
oh yeah. So there at first they put me in the power center. I thought this is cool. You know, just walk around checking gauges and stuff, and then they're like, we have too many people in the power room. Some people are going to go to the kitchen, and I end up going to the kitchen. I'm like, no. So I got in there.
What was your role in the kitchen?
So first one was so this is the best job in the kitchen. It was orderly. We just dump the trash at the end of the thing. Yeah. But then like I was there for like maybe a week or two before the officer in charge of the kitchen's like, do you want to be a cook? I'm like, I don't know how to cook. He's like, I'll teach you.
I don't know how to cook. You're perfect. Come on in.
Yeah. So I said, okay, I'll try. So so I started doing it. We started
cooking pancakes.
The guy was leaving, and then I became the head cook.
Really?
Yeah, and we started like making the food better. Like we started like focusing on stuff like that. We had a pretty good officer who would help us order what we needed, and we were
really.
able to, we did.
You sit down with him at the ordering book. Here, we need these ingredients.
Yeah, I mean, there's a farm. There's a farm there, so we had like some fresh stuff there, a lot of fresh stuff.
Very cool.
So it was it was healthy. It wasn't as good as a prison food can be.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's no preservatives. You're not eating McDonald's. Or you're not eating junk or anything. It's like if you focus on just eating the vegetables and the protein.
Yeah.
You feel pretty healthy when you got out there.
So it's prison organic.
Yeah. Yeah. So just focused on that and taking classes and then the drug program was pretty intensive. It's a 9-month program. It's pretty an emotional road to go through.
Yeah, so you took classes. Did you have a degree before you got to prison?
I did in computer science.
You just kept on taking classes for fun?
Yeah, I was outdated. As soon as you're out of computers for a couple of years, I knew I couldn't go back to the software I was using when I came in. My big height of mine was Y2K was my accuracy.
I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, once you got out, what was the transition like? And how long ago was it?
So I got out in 2000 2011.
Okay.
So I got out 2011. That summer, and I moved to the halfway house in Tacoma, and you go out every day, searching for work.
Looking for work, yeah. And
get close a lot, and they say, "Oh, HR says no," or a lot of stuff I end up having. I ended up after maybe 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, I ended up. A friend of mine said, "Go apply at Recovery Innovations. They do crisis services," which was good because it's like based on your experience, you're supporting other people. So I went, and it's like a peer service role.
And you have a great been there, done that perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So you went there, and she said, just tell her what you go through, and I just one night this lady interviewed me, and she was in charge of the program, and she's just like everything. She was from Belgium. Everything I said on my experience, she goes, "Ooh, that's great. I'm like, "Oh, that's wonderful." I'm like, "What?"
She's like, "Do you have more? Give me
yeah,
more."
Exactly. Like everything I've been through was a validation for my ability to do the job.
Yeah,
be the job right there on the spot. So
congratulations.
Yeah.
So you had to earn it though, right?
Oh yeah, through life. Yeah. Yeah. So I started doing that. And something happened. Unfortunately, somebody ended up getting full time right away. But I couldn't find a place to live, so I ended up living in this hotel, which took up a lot of my income I was making.
So like you couldn't find a place to live because they wouldn't rent to you?
Right. So
yeah, what was that like?
That was difficult. You go find a place near work. It turned out to be okay.
Now, were the actual apartment buildings by management companies or just people? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, most of that's difficult. And then this guy from work just one day came up and said, "Hey, I hear you're looking for a place. I have a friend who has a condo, and we can move in there." So, 2-bedroom condo. So excellent. So that worked out pretty good for a year or two. Can't remember how long that was, but I stayed there for a couple of years before moving in my current situation, which is a really old friend of mine I knew from Arizona.
Yeah, that's kind of what you have to do, because I remember when I was looking, I knew the apartment buildings were not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then so I would just try to find places in the want ads.
Yeah.
So it's like, roommate for share.
Right.
Of course, during this time, it was under DOC custody, so I would have to tell them,
Right.
like, they're not really going to ask because it's just some guy with an ad in the paper.
Right.
But to be transparent, it's like, hey, just let you know,
Right.
here's the story.
Right.
And then, so I would never get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was lucky to get the job because they went to every after I got the job I didn't realize that they come out they're like, we're going to go talk to your employer, your future employer.
Yeah,
and they go and they're like, do you know blah blah? And she goes, yes, and we think that's great.
Like, that's why we hired him.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's funny because the DOC staff, presumably they're to make sure you succeed, but what they really do is just throw every obstacle in front of you.
That's true.
It's like, we want to make sure you succeed, so we're going to just go ahead and tell everyone.
Yeah, and make it sound
Terrible.
maximum worse. Yeah.
So you're working there, and that was RI just before you
RI.
became ED of yoga.
Yeah. So I did that. I started there as just a peer counselor, not just as a peer counselor, which is very valuable and important. But I got an opportunity to become the support service coordinator and then support services manager. So
you kind of went up the ladder.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. So I was like,
you were there for 2011 all the way till just recently.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, 8 years.
So 4 weeks now at Yoga Behind Bars.
Yeah, this my 4th week started today. Yeah.
So how's the transition? Is it just as chaotic as the other place with all these different jobs you're doing?
So it's yoga. So it's like, so the staff is very, it's a very self-care oriented system that's very, really focusing on well-being and communicating. So far it's a small, great staff. I had like a lot of direct reports at the other job, and this one's like less, and it's not 24 hours a day. It just feels more
kinder, gentler crew.
But it's a lot of information I'm learning. I have to learn a lot because I have to learn the programs. I have to learn. There's a lot coming at me at the same time.
Yeah.
And the new role is fundraising.
Yeah, especially being ED of a new organization.
Yeah.
You're still kind of on call 24/7.
Yeah.
It depends on how you want to structure your.
Yeah.
What
you're thinking about things. There's a lot of stuff to do off time, discussion dinners, and meeting people, and making sure you're starting building a network, and you get invited to a lot of things. So it's been but this staff is remarkable, and we're clicking.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what do you love most about it?
I love what we're doing for the students and the stories and hearing more of the stories.
Because you got to experience that yourself.
Yeah, and I've been able to talk to a few of our instructors that we taught behind bars, and just the impact, you can just feel it and hear it and see it a lot more than even when I was on the board,
So how many instructors do you have behind bars, and what's the ratio to the yogas you bring in?
So yeah, we have like 10 male teachers and I think we have 2 or 3 female instructors now, and they're surprisingly they are teaching about half of our classes now, because they have access. They're there all the time, instead of going in and going, especially to some remote spots. They all came in through the training, and then they were sent back out to different locations, and they're teaching more classes and doing more programming.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, is that a job at the institution, or is that
volunteer?
volunteer?
So we advocated for that, and they have a job.
Really?
A paid job.
They get a pay number.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's really good.
Congratulations. That's a big deal to get the state to pay for yoga instructors.
Yes. Yeah. It's really impactful, and it can help them both upon release as well. So we're hoping to. I think we're looking at evaluating whether we're going to try to do that again in about a year.
Oh, was that kind of a one-time deal, you said?
Yeah, so we did it. We did it, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to do a campaign to raise money for that.
Oh, is that something you guys pay for then?
Yeah, so we have,
gotcha.
So we have to get, because we got to.
You raise money to get the state.
Yeah. So we got to, and then there's a lot of follow-up, and then we start using our outside instructors and mentors for them to help support, sustain, and
So it's interesting. Earlier you told me about the clemency hearing you went to.
Yeah.
And share with me that perspective on how they viewed the yoga thing.
So the clemency hearing is seems just so one-sided. Like there's no real intent on seeing a redemption or compassion to the person that committed the crime. It was very difficult because one of our students that we trained is doing really well, actually. From when he's a kid, he got arrested when he was a kid, like over 30 years ago, and he and when they started talking about yoga, they made it. It's his job. He works at it 6 days a week. It's his job in prison, and it's work. They made it sound like he was using it. Like yoga was a great thing that like he was blessed to be able to do yoga, and there's nothing really wrong. He's doing fine in prison. He gets to do yoga, which is not.
It's not enough punishment.
Yeah.
It's like if he's got enough time,
Yeah.
even though he's not scrubbing pots in the kitchen, his job is yoga,
Right.
which means prison isn't so bad, so he can
Right.
just stay in there.
Yeah. Kind of. That's what. I mean, that's part of it. There was a lot. There was a little more in depth than that, but it's just that was the implication of the prosecutor, which is prosecutors are real difficult for me to just the perception, to have them the way they talk about anybody. It's just you gotta realize that's
Their job is to put you in prison.
yeah. And
Well, was that a King County prosecutor?
that was at Pierce County.
Okay.
King County's doing better. King County's doing a good job of getting different voices, and YBB has done training with some.
Yeah, I knew that
some
Dan Satterberg would be pro clemency because he'd look back on sentences, like especially after the third strike thing happened.
Yeah.
He would actually suggest people for clemency.
Yeah.
I
I didn't realize that.
I don't know where he's at now.
Like you think of Tacoma as Pierce County is kind of like a sister city in a way, but it's just there's not a lot of heart there. It just feels like it was very disappointing to hear a perspective on how you can drag so many negative nuggets out of something. So
How long was that guy incarcerated for?
30 years.
So that's a good run. So he's probably learned his lesson, you would think.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of things to redeem himself. He's done the Redemption Project. He's teaching and training other people. He's taking yoga to teach and train other people that he can start on his own. He's reconnected with his family. He's got like a few outsider supports considering. And this kid went through a lot on his own. He had a horrible childhood. He was abandoned by his mom. He was abused by his father. He had a lot.
He had a rough time.
Oh my gosh, this story is just unimaginable. I couldn't have handled what he had to handle as a kid. And
Yeah. How old was he when he got sentenced?
he was 18.
So that's kind of the juvenile sentencing deal.
Yeah, so he's an adult, but he was 7 months older than
They cut off.
guy who actually pulled the trigger. He was with him, but the other guys pulled the trigger.
Did he have was the family?
Family was there. So
Were they still objecting?
Yeah, they're still really hurting and in pain. And I get that.
Yeah, that's tough when.
It's hard to heal. I get it. Because you're still feeling the impact for the rest of your life. But I think he's an adult now. He's an entirely different person, and for all the impact he's having on people now is pretty remarkable.
So does he get another run in the future?
I'm really not sure how that works. We were trying to assess that today.
See what plan B is.
It was difficult we had quite a few people from the other white bars go down there and show some support. And when we left, it was very hard. They take the vote right there. They take the vote right there at the end. They have
the recommendation to the governor.
Yeah, they have the recommendation to the governor. They have the person asking for clemency hearing first, and then they allow the prosecutors to destroy it, and then they vote.
So it didn't go well. Well,
no, it was 5-0 also.
Well, at least you tried.
Yeah. I worry about that. I worry about the individual.
Yeah.
Like it was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because I know you see the struggle and see how much he changed and how much pain he's in. It's not hard to assess that.
All right. So what's next for Yoga Behind Bars? What do you want to do with it? So maybe we can talk about something more uplifting.
Yeah. really want us to get some sustainability. I want us to.
Or do you want to grow it, or do you want to stay kind of, or maybe we should just cover how many prisons you're in right now?
We're in, I think, 18.
Is that all of Washington?
All of Washington.
Other
And
states
Washington
too?
only.
Okay, just Washington.
Washington only.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all our prisons. Or are there some you haven't hit yet?
I'm not sure. I think there's, if my draws me well, I'm just trying to get back acclimated. And my program lessons are this week.
Okay.
I know I think there's 2 remote ones that we.
Yeah, a couple of camps.
Yeah.
A couple camps you haven't hit.
Yeah. So it's not really going to be about. It's not about like expansion and growth. It's about providing good programs in the systems that are working well that we're at, and hopefully
Kind of digging deeper in the ones you already have.
Yeah. And I like to reevaluate the Yoga Behind Bars online program because we get a lot of requests from out of state, from out of country, for people to learn trauma-informed yoga, which is what we're doing. I think we've excelled at it. And I'd like to see that get launched a little better, a little stronger, and be able to be open to more people than just Yoga Behind Bars online it's a great program, and we got to be able to market it and let people hear it. So I'd like to see us get more earned income, some different things. So we're doing some teacher trainings around the country. We're doing. I'd like to see us do a proper launch of YBB online.
So are you thinking of rebranding since it's not?
I'm thinking about it because I'd like to see that. I'd like to come up with a name that's more open. It's because I think people, like I know that at my old job we have a instructor who took the class and is now teaching yoga we have 2 16-bed units. Is teaching, or they have 2 16-bed units, and they're teaching yoga to their people. I think it'd help in a lot of different living situations with people that are going through either mental health crisis, mental health long term, maybe even people in retirement communities. There's a lot of different opportunities to learn something and remotely online and check the scale trauma informs the way of that.
Yeah, so maybe don't call it Yoga Behind Bars in the retirement community because that might be too real.
No, right, exactly. I think it's the name's a little limiting. So in my opinion, I think it can be more broad. I have to really look through it, go through it, and see how much is geared towards institutions, and maybe have a couple different modules that allow it to open up a little bit more.
So how do you measure impact of yoga?
Yeah, it's a difficult impact to measure, and that's where we'd like to get some help. And that's one of the things I like to do is because that's one thing I hear when we talk to some funders and some grant funders is show us some.
How do you quantify
it? How do you quantify the impact?
Yeah.
I know because I know in my head, I know in my heart, I know when we hear from our students, but how do you make it measurable, understand impact? There's some studies out there.
Yeah, I remember like even with prisoner education, some of the things they would measure would be like a decrease in the number of infractions or violent episodes in the prison.
Right.
Because then you can say it's safer for the guards, it's safer for the environment. So instead of yoga to coddle prisoners, making it sound like it's so much fun in a prison, there's actually other things that happen.
Yeah. There's a ripple effect of good that happens from settling the mind, calming.
I like that, the ripple effect of good. That could be the new name of the organization.
Yeah.
So if you could wave your magic wand and make it all perfect, what would that look like?
That would look like a sustainable budget where I could take care of staff the way they deserve to be taken care of, where we're taking care of where we're serving as many students as possible to have an impact on them and the lives of their families, and their outcomes are coming out better, so that they don't have to reduce recidivism, and they can come out being a force in their community. Like have a positive impact.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how many people would you anticipate would participate in your program? What percentage of the inmate population?
So I just read that, and I have to one of their goals was to touch like 50%. I don't know if we can do that.
Really?
That's pretty high. It's fun. It allows you, like, for me, like, immediately, like, honestly, like, when I started doing yoga on that field, it started making me realize how much I had control of, which was the way I felt, the way I was thinking, and control of how I perceived the environment around me. And that was just that just changed everything. Like just to go, I'm still human. I'm still here on this planet. This is the same grass that other people are touching. That's the same sun, the same moon, the same water. It's the same earth that everyone else is on. I just need to it just changed like
Kind of connects you with your world a little
with
bit.
the world. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the work you're doing,
Thank you.
and thank you for joining the podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll put your all your social media handles on the end of this, and we can share it.
All right. I appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice meeting you, by the way. You've been an amazing connection and mentor with your relationships, knowing gone through these stuff with your program. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Julian. Happy to help.
All right.
Want to see you guys do well.
Thank you.
All right.